What a lovely, lovely day. If my face looks red, it's a combination of sunburn, out in the bright sun all day, and windburn. It was in the upper 50s. It got to be like 60 today, with quite a clipping wind, so it felt brisk. But a couple things we noticed. Different times of the year, you get wind that feels like a warm wind with a touch of cold sneaking into it. September is like that here. In October, it starts getting colder and colder and colder. And then there comes a turning in the year. Might not be permanent, because this time of year, the month of March, is very temperamental where we live. But that cold wind starts having a touch of warm to it. It's an undercurrent. I think of it like the bass note in an incense blend where you have the low, the medium, and the high. So it's the low, the bass note. So you get that feeling of warmth rising up in, like the ember that's going to become the fire within the cool winds. And they're starting to bring all kinds of smells. The dampness of the earth right now, it's pretty muddy out there, which for us means sloppy sand, right where we live, but other places we've been today there actually was mud. So you could smell that, and you could smell the dankness at the grasses at the edge of the bay. And when we went to the ocean today, you could really, really smell the salt and the briny, rich, fertile kind of smell that the ocean has. You don't smell it so much over the winter time because it's so brisk. Your nose might be too cold perhaps to smell what's there. But today felt like a softening of the world, and it was a wonderful day to be outside, and we were outside all day long. And that's all today is going to be about, is the time spent outside. So I'll put together the pictures and the videos from that. It was the kind of day that the sun going down felt like a particular benediction, a blessing on the end of a beautiful day. Really a good day. So let me begin with a video I hope comes out. Using the zoom on my camera can be a little bit tricky because then it gets very jiggly and hard to see. It's okay for our photographs, but not so good for videos. But several of you have asked me how close I am to the ocean, and I have explained it before, but I don't expect you to go back to old videos and find the explanation for that. The bay that we live on is an inland bay with an outlet to the Atlantic Ocean. And on the other side of it, on the eastern side of it, there's a strip of land a quarter of a mile or less wide, which is the barrier between the bay and the Atlantic Ocean. So what I did is I went out to our marina, which is the farthest east point here in our community. And I aimed the camera across the bay, and then I zoomed in for you, and I'll be showing you that video while I continue to yatter on here. And when I zoom in, you're going to see that I zoom in on a tower, if I got it in the shot. And that tower sits directly on the sand at the edge of the Atlantic Ocean. So it gives you an idea how close we are to the ocean where we are. We smell it when the wind comes from that direction, especially in warmer weather. And in certain conditions, certain still nights, but towards the full moon, when the tides are high enough that the waves have enough boom and crash to them, we will hear them, not distinctly as, oh, that's the sound of the ocean, but more a hum, a drone in the background of the night. Not during the day. There's too much other noise during the day, and not so much during the times of year that people are running either heaters or air conditioners, because that sound will fill the night air around us. But, for instance, at this time of the year, when the conditions are just right, we get to listen to the ocean from our front porch. It's kind of a treat when that happens. So I wanted to share that with those of you who wondered how close we are to the ocean. Now, to get to the ocean, we have to drive around our bay and over to the other side. So it's about a 15-minute drive, well, unless it's the summertime, in which case, as you can imagine, Beach Highway gets a bit busy, and it's more like a half hour waiting in traffic to get to the beach. We went to the beach today because who could not go to the beach when it's 60 degrees out? Other people had the same idea. We didn't go to the beach that I like to go to. It is empty, more or less, this time of the year, because that beach requires going down quite a steep embankment. We're talking hundreds of feet down and then back up. And I'm just not walking quite that good at the moment, so I needed something very accessible. And so we went over to Rehoboth and onto the beach there. And there were people there. There were youngsters trying to surf, which is always kind of funny to see here. Now, I'm an East Coast girl. This is the beach I grew up with, the one I know the best. But waves here are only like 3 or 4 foot tall. But those who are desperate to surf will find something to glide on. And there were young people out there today that were doing their best to find a wave. And after all the work, because of the shallowness of our waves and the fact that they are short-lived, they would get up and maybe 2 seconds later their wave was done. But you got to give them credit. They were in their bliss and enjoying what they were doing. But I couldn't help but think that several of you who watch my videos are from the West Coast, and you would laugh to see Delawareans trying to surf on these little 3-foot short-lived waves. Can't blame them for doing what they love, though. You got to make do with what you have, don't you? So there were people on the beach, and it was just nice to see that this kind of weather brings people out of their houses and back into the world. And people and dogs walking the beaches and on the boardwalk. There's another month and a half, so 6 weeks or so of free parking in the resorts here. And also, during that time, dogs are allowed on the boardwalk and on the beaches, and that changes when the tourist season arrives. So there's like 3 months that you don't find the dogs. And there's something that I love about watching dogs. I don't think I caught any of my videos. The end of the beach I was on didn't have a lot of people on it. And it had had some destruction because of the bad storms we had a couple weeks ago. So it was in the middle of being bulldozed back into shape. So it wasn't as accessible for the dogs as it might have been otherwise. But one of the pleasures I get in the off-season is, I begrudge it a little bit when someone else shows up. When I'm walking the beach and want to be totally alone, because I still can't believe I can do that. Just take a walk on the beach and have nobody around. But if they come with a dog, I'm really happy to share the beach with them. I love watching the dogs who've grown up on the beach run and gamble and just dance in and out of the surf and snap at the foam and bark, and just, it's like little kids having so much fun, giving over to the power of the ocean, to the magic of the ocean. But today what was neat is I wasn't in the mood that I wanted to be alone on a beach, so I wasn't missing my beach so much that I would normally go to this time of the year. The danger might have been I would have gotten down to it and not been able to get back up, and I didn't want to take a chance on that. Roger jokes if that ever happens, so need to carry a rope in the car so he can throw it off the cliff and kind of throw it down to me so he can haul me back up. But today, when we went over to Rehoboth, knowing that there would be plenty of people like us drawn to the ocean on a day like today, how could you not be? It was like you felt like we were all kindred spirits answering the same siren call, the ocean, calling to us, reminding us that the season is changing and welcoming us back to her shore. I actually enjoy the presence of others around me. So that's going to be it for my vlog for today. The tiny moments follow, and there were plenty of beautiful moments in the day that I didn't capture, but I wanted to share some of the beauty of the day with you. Yeah, it was a good one.